Michelle. Are you kidding? Well,
Call to order, adoption of agenda, 2.1 recommendation.
The council adopt the agenda as presented.
Second. Discussion? All in favor? Adoption of minutes, 3.1 recommendation.
Council adopt the minutes from the regular council meeting held on September 16, 2020.
Can I have a second? Second. Discussion? All in favor? Number 4, introduction of late items. 8.9 is 2020 funding for Canada Day program. 5, public hearing, none. Delegation, 6.1, recommendation.
The council hears a delegation from Michelle Boone of Delta Development.
Can I have a seconder? Second. Discussion. Hey guys. Michelle, you want to come
You're
on?
What do you want?
You can go wherever you like. Come on, if you want the podium, you can have the podium. Al, can I just get you this time, please?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right, well, I came in front of council today because I would like to request that my Weed Mart license amount be lowered. Right now I'm paying $2,500 for a license. And I'm having some other problems I'd like to discuss with you actually, if I could backtrack a bit. Is there a formula that you guys use to see how much you charge each individual business for a business license? Because I'm being charged $150 for the liquor store, Stitchables, the spa, and Apex are $75. Nodes is $90. And I'd like to know why, when Leanne took over leasing the store from us, she was charged $45 more just to change the name on her business license. So it jumped up from $150 to $195. And I'm just curious why our stores are being charged so much more than all of the other businesses in Pouce Coupe.
Why is that, Chris?
The business license.
Alcohol and...
Well, so the business license bylaw was updated, I believe, in 2018. I'm just looking that up now. Prior to that, I think the last revision of it was like 1994 or something along those lines. It had been a really, really long time.
And so I've never questioned it, but
yeah.
I mean, I understand why we were originally charged the $2,500,
Yeah.
but we'll be 2 years this December that Weed Mart's been open, and we have not had any issues, whether it's policing issues, crime. We haven't had any problems whatsoever. Our sales are down, you guys, like, it's nothing like it was for the first 3 to 6 months when we opened. The market is flooded. Dawson's opening a 4th store.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, you know that orange building where the farmer's market used to be? Yeah. So that'll be the 4th store in Dawson.
You need 4 stores open the whole thing.
Yeah, thanks, Worship. So just to sort of finish off the business licenses in general, those were just the rates we were given to council or by council to apply to the bylaw. So, yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to punish anybody else. I don't want to see you guys raise their business licenses because I come before you today. And I'm hoping that the licenses won't be raised because you guys, everyone took, you were nice enough to lower property taxes. I don't want to see you kind of, steal from Peter feet, Paul, because I don't think that's right.
Nice COVID.
You know, like our sales are down dramatically in all of our stores, even though we were considered essential.
Is it all together? Is it Redwood have different ones?
Yeah, so
Okay.
we paid $150 for Redwood, $150 for the liquor store, and $2,500 for Weed Mart.
Okay.
And
And did you pay for the water store?
no, because it's in the liquor store, and it doesn't have its own entity. It's all under Decla Developments, right? At one time, I did come before council because they wanted to charge me for the car wash as well, and it's all under Decla Developments in one building. Do you understand what I mean? Like it is one building. And when Leanne took over the lease she is leasing our store from us, when she changed the business license into her name, her license went up to $195.
Is that that's because it changed the name? And then
I don't know why. I don't understand why.
That likely happened in 2018 after the new bylaw was adopted, so it would have appeared on the surface that it was just because of the name change, but it was...
But it couldn't because she only took over in 2019.
Yeah.
And she was charged $195 to take over the business license just for the food store.
It couldn't be 195, Michelle. We don't have a fee for any business. It's 195.
Would you like to see the,
I'm looking at the fee schedule.
because if I look at her 2020 business license,
Yeah.
on the wall, it had $195.
Can you snap a picture of that, and send them?
Yeah.
I can,
Because
yes,
when
for
you-
sure.
When you said that number, that didn't make
Yeah.
sense to me. I'm looking.
And like even Dawson is random. Some stores are 93.25, some are 152.85. Like I don't know if there's a formula or how it works. And I mean, I don't want to see Nodes and Stitchables and all of these other places penalized. That's not why I'm here. I just want to see if, for one, can I please get Weed Mart lowered? I can't afford that. I just can't. Like that's a crazy amount of money. And I don't know what to say. I just want to see if you guys can even review them. Because I don't know why I'm paying twice as much as Stitchables or Apex.
Well, you did because of the weed store.
No, this is the liquor store.
Liquor store is because of liquor, probably. We
But-
get fees for liquor licenses, right, Chris?
So yeah, the liquor sales was set by council of the day at $150 for the license for that.
Okay, does that count if the Heart of Town, the Legion as well? Because they're selling alcohol as well.
Cindy, what's your guys' business license?
How much do we,
We have to have two.
we got up to $150,
Yeah.
we paid $300.
We paid 300
you
because
pay for
that's
liquor,
one of the
you pay
reasons we're here today.
One for the liquor store and one for the restaurant.
We don't have a liquor store.
Okay.
No,
We only have the lounge.
Your liquor sales, that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, it's liquor sales and lounge.
And then you sell liquor in the hall.
Not necessarily in the hall, it's sold in the lounge, but it's allowed in the hall. We only have one liquor license.
And
And
We'll
it
do
counts
that,
for
we'll
the
do
whole
that,
group.
Pat. We'll
Okay.
leave it now.
so, I'll just wanted to bring it forward to you, see if there's anything we can do to have, I don't know, some kind of a average or something, at least Weed Mart for sure, but can we look at why my store, one is $195 and one's $150?
What's the store under, Michelle?
Which one, the liquor box?
No, the store.
Well, it'd
that
be
you
under JLK Ventures, because Leanne took it over. So I paid $150, and then when she took, like in January, beginning of January, when she took it over May 1st, she changed it into her name, and it's at $195 on the wall.
So you're being charged for one license for convenience store at $120, and then a license for service station parts and accessories at $75.
So there's 195.
Why?
So your service station for the gas.
You were getting a deal before.
So the convenience store has one license, it looks like. Now, I don't understand.
Yeah, no.
myself, but I'm just telling you what I'm reading here. The convenience store has one license, and then the gas station and everything else has another license in that store. So they're
Okay, so
charging you for two licenses.
Right. Whereas I don't know, that was never done before. Unless the 150 from the year before included that. Like, why did it jump up $45, I guess is the one thing I'm asking. And I knew that our licenses, like the liquor store, was going to jump up $25. I knew that a couple of years ago. But I'm curious as to why it's double what the other businesses in Pusa. We don't have any more of a crime rate. We don't have, like, don't tell me Nodes isn't making a whole lot more money than you.
No, but the liquor, because you have government, you sell government.
Right, but we pay a license fee, like we have our own individual license for that?
I know, but we still, if a bylaw officer gets called, then you are charged, right? So it's all built into the fees.
Okay. I just wondered where these formulas were, wherever they came from.
And again, Michelle, there's no formula. These were just numbers that us as staff were given by the council of the day and say these are license fees we want you to collect. So
Okay.
it is, yeah.
So can I just ask that you review at least Weed Mart to see if we can please get that lower? Because honestly, it's just not on my budget, guys. It's been a brutal year, and I don't suspect it's going to get any better, unfortunately. Okay? And then will somebody just let me know what we're looking at doing?
Yeah, Chris will.
Okay, and please, like, this isn't to penalize the other businesses in Coos, okay? Because we all post it, so it's public knowledge what they
We
pay.
don't have no intention
Okay.
of going after.
Because I don't want to,
No.
I'm not that, I don't do that, and I wouldn't want.
I would feel really bad if that happens.
Okay.
So one of us will let you know.
Okay, that'd be
Whatever
great.
you decide.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you, Michelle.
6.2 recommendation?
That council hear the delegation from the Coos County Royal Canadian Legion.
Can I get a second there? Discussion, Hal or Cindy, which one are you gonna talk?
What I'm here for today is I was wondering if we could get
A tax exemption for 2021. All legions, and I have documents in the area like Cumber Ridge, Chatwin, Fort St. John, all have a tax exemption from the village. And you know, our legion's it's a historic building, right? It's been here for 90 years. We've been paying taxes for like 90 years. And, you know, we do quite a bit for the community, I think. You know, we have the Rangers, the junior Rangers there. It's also the muster point for, and a shelter in case of a town emergency. That's the muster point, right? Any of the community members in town that are hardship, like have a death in the family or something, we usually just give them the hall if they're looking for a hall, right, on short notice. We do our Remembrance Day there. The village of Coos, you know, does the water testing there. That's 15 minutes running the water once a week. Over a year period, that adds up, right? We've
And
been
you're getting
doing
charged
it
for that?
for years. Oh yeah, for sure.
Why do they have to run the tap?
For the water test.
To get midstream?
It's one of the furthest points in the village that's on the water system, so we test it there to make sure that the lines in between the tower and that point are clean.
Why can't they do it before the meeting?
I'd have to speak to staff on that, your worship, but we just.
You know, I mean, that's a cost that we
Yeah.
occurred, that we've been occurring for years. So, and we're also the polling station for the elections.
That's where I gotta go. Good.
The Remembrance Day ceremony, you know, is for the whole community. I did receive this letter about permissive tax exemption, and I think we qualify because we are not-for-profit. We do let the public in, yes, but if we didn't let the public in, man, we wouldn't be here, right?
You're not a registered non-for-profit.
Yes, we are.
Because we tried to,
I understand, yes, and I've been working on that, but all legions are federally registered as not-for-profit. All legions, all of Canada.
That's what we were told.
That's
by
what we
the-
were told by Dominion Command. So we are, and I've been on the horn with the guy from Dominion Command trying to figure out why, when you guys punch it in, it comes up as a business. Right?
It should be under BC registries is where you would check out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll come up under business or
Yeah.
it'll come up under.
but I don't understand why, like, it's not you guys, right? It's the higher ups.
Or-
I kind of, when I was looking into this myself, because we had got some COVID money and I know you guys were strapped. You guys are part of the Yukon BC Legion or whatever?
Yes.
As a whatever.
Yes,
So are they registered?
Yes.
And they have a nonprofit number?
yes, they do.
They need to get some documentation and give you guys that number to use. So if we do come across more money and they're looking whatever.
Yeah,
So I think that is
Yeah,
the
I'll-
issue is because we tried everything
yeah.
to get some money.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm trying to, it's very hard. Well, Donnie, you know what Dominion Command's like, right?
Yes, I know. I was the secretary.
Yeah. But you guys, the Legion has been here for 90 years now. It's a historical place for our village. You know, we all work together. We all, you know, we give to the only veteran left in town. We pay all his medical expenses. right? We give to the food bank in town. And so I just thought maybe you guys could help us out and give us a tax exemption for next year. I'm really nervous, sorry.
Oh, I know, I.
And the other issue is our business license. I don't understand why we have to have 2 business licenses when we're one building.
Catering. You cater at a
But we're not really catering, we're having like
suppers.
suppers,
Got a
yeah.
certified kitchen,
Fundraising,
you know?
dancing.
Pardon
You
me?
got a certified kitchen.
Yes, we do.
So that's why you have.
That's why we have 2.
You're damned if you do and damned.
Yeah, you know. It's like everybody, right? We're suffering with this COVID and stuff, man, we're really suffering. But that's all I have.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. Sorry I'm so nervous.
That's okay, and Cindy, can you mark me down for 2 suppers for tomorrow?
I can't hear you.
Can you mark me down for 2 suppers tomorrow?
Two?
Friday, isn't it?
Okay, like you're gonna come in and have them? They're out to go?
I'll pick them up.
Oh, they're to go?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you bet, I will. Okay.
And then I'll talk to you later about that.
Okay, for sure, 2.
Schnitzel Friday night, you guys.
Okay, thank
Friday
you.
next night.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, good night. So I think we should just discuss this now, hey Chris?
Might be best, your worship, because in order to meet the permissive tax exemption deadline, council's gotta make a decision on this tonight.
So Delco Developments, what do you guys think about lowering that?
Well, 25.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, considering that.
Considering what everybody else paid.
And they're not a problem as well. Chris, go
Yeah,
ahead.
maybe just to give council some history on that, at the time, it was intentionally set high. We knew there was one for sure, being them, and a second potential applicant to a retail cannabis license, and Councilor Smith will remember some of this, that, you know, we're sort of knocking on council's door saying, hey, we want to open up one of these businesses. So we knew all of the back-end administrative work was going to be quite heavy, and we did it in record time. We were the second municipality in British Columbia to open up a legal retail cannabis outlet.
I'll let you.
No,
take
we were the second municipality, only because the city of Kimberley had 2 by the same applicant. He opened up 2 stores, so we beat Nelson, we beat City of Vancouver, all those places you would consider the sort of, you know, cannabis centers of BC. But not to say that there wasn't a significant amount of work that went into that project to beat everybody to the punch, so to speak. So there wasn't a lot of mechanisms to recover all of that administrative cost for the general taxpayers, because Sandy and I were largely doing that work for these 2 potential applicants, and that ended up only being 1 when the dust settled. So the business license was intentionally set high to sort of reimburse the municipality for some of the work that really was all, you know, it was work, staff time funded by the taxpayers that only benefited 1 business. Now, we've gone on 2 years now on this, so really, no, there's been none of the bylaw issues we you know, theorized that we could have materialized. There's been no spike in crime or lawyering.
But I think if they do want to still apply for the first couple of years, I think they should have to pay the $2,500 to prove themselves.
Yeah, so that becomes the question, your worship, you know, if it was set at that level to sort of recover those costs, you guys totally steer the ship on that. How much of the cost do you want to recover, right? So right now we're at 5,000. It took us 6 months to get there, so we're you know, but to the presentation's point, it's definitely higher.
Barb?
How much money, okay, so I want to open a pot store in Puscoopi. How much money was it, paperwork administered, like, was it $2,500 worth, or was it $1,000?
Oh, it was more than that, Councilor Smith. Yeah, like I say, Sandy and I together,
We also had legal costs.
we had legal costs in there, yeah, because we ran a lot of, we approached this from a different way than a lot of the other municipalities did, which was part of the reason we were able to get out in front of them. So ironically enough, we did it cheaper in the long run, because we didn't set up a whole zoning bylaw and bylaws on bylaws on bylaws to do to do cannabis, we sort of looked at the process and identified that you guys were the gatekeepers through that support letter. So we did everything tied to the support letter. But, you know, there was easily 6 months worth of work going in. Not solely focused on that, but, you know, the corporate officer and I plunked away at it for easily 6 months plus some legal advice in there, so.
So her startup cost for $2,500?
No, that's just for our business license. The amount of fees they pay to get licensed at the provincial level.
10,000.
equals
So
our
how many
fees,
times,
but,
how many years have they been open?
2 now, I believe. 2, yeah.
And their one is come due? So we need to come to an agreement, either they pay the $2,500 or they pay an amount that council suggests. Or,
Could we put a stipulation in, if another store comes along, their initial first 2 years registration will be $2,500? And then maybe cut it down to $1,500 after 2 years, or like, or 2,000 or whatever?
I would say 500.
Every
Every
year,
year,
you guys are so cheap.
every year, right?
This is one of those things,
And then not-
you guys steer the ship on it, you can structure it any way you'd like.
Because $2,000 is a lot of money, they're not a problem to us. Right?
All businesses started out. And yeah, there were costs incurred, but now it's there. So all the future is ahead of us, and I'm sure that somewhere along the line that we will
Hit the breaking point.
recoup. And instead of sticking to $2,500, that is an awful lot of money for a business. And in particular at this time.
And could we not put something in there that says that if my future pot store causes a whole bunch of problems and with the police and.
Well, I think if the first couple of years, they should have to pay the $2,500. They've showed that they don't have any issues.
Yeah, so 2021 would be the 3rd year of that.
Mhm.
And the business licenses are technically due January 1st. 2nd.
But not to here, but I'm talking federally, they'll have to get paperwork in, and
Oh.
she'll have to know how much she's paying the village for
And those,
2021.
yeah.
Ken, what do you have to say?
Question. Do we have to allow another?
Pot store? No.
No.
And I know, graces of God, you wouldn't.
So if we just say, and make the bylaw that
But we
no
might not
more
be
than
here.
one,
We might not be here, so let us set these rules.
We have to set it in, we have to set it in.
We have to set it in stone because otherwise.
well, let's set it in stone. Who says no more than one pot store?
Can't do
We're worried on the taxes first.
gonna make a living?
that. Money.
There are not businesses knocking down our door to come. I think we're pretty safe. And if not, oh my goodness, won't it be a marvelous day?
No, we have an industrial park by now, over in Norris's property.
There's
Lots of
plenty,
things that would.
there's plenty of vacant
Yeah.
lots for cultivation in the industrial area, but I hear you folks, it's a tough call on this one. Because, yeah, it is.
I would say knock it down 500.
I'll second it.
Discussion?
Shouldn't there be some sort of
Is that
formula
why?
set up to administer a business tax as opposed to
We
a
have to-
annual use of
yeah.
$100 a year?
Yeah, we have to discuss.
And
Change the bylaw.
$500, is that for the 3rd year or,
That's the third.
or every pot store?
This is
now?
2021 for.
I know, but if I want to open a pot store,
But if there's issues, right, if we have issues with them, the bylaw officer's there all the time, well, or the cops, well, no, it'll stay 2,500 forever.
And we could revisit that on a sort of ad hoc basis too, your worship. If we saw a pattern developing, we could
Yeah, no,
reconvene and
no.
just change the number to cover some of that cost. I think what Councillor Smith is asking, do we leave it at 2,500 set in the bylaw for a new startup one and put a provision in there that says year 1 and 2, this is the cost, years 3 and later, this is the cost, and
With no issues.
with no issues.
Yeah. That's, I'm fine with
Okay.
Because you don't know who in the future is gonna come and want it
Want a license.
at the heart of town. I'm just throwing it out there where I'm looking at buildings for my pawn store.
For your folks.
You're gonna have chickens, so I can have pots.
All in favor of $500?
So, Your
You're a
Worship,
chicken pot pie.
So 2021.
just to make sure that we're clear, so that we'll amend the bylaw to say that years 1 and 2, it's 2,500, years 3 and later, the fee.
If you show good track record,
Okay.
then we can discuss.
Yeah,
And we will discuss it.
we can come up with
Discuss
some
it.
language with that, yeah. Yeah, but then I have one question for you two, are these gonna be grass-fed chickens?
Oh, we're going with chicken pot pie.
Okay, so the Legion?
No, they are suffering.
They're struggling.
They're trying really hard to keep their doors open.
Barb?
I would like to make a motion that we give a $50 reduction in their water bill every time we have to go and test the water.
Will we do that every 3
Every
weeks?
2 weeks. Might be weekly.
Not
He
very
said
good.
weekly.
It's every 2 weeks?
It's every 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Well, and I guess we're in their water bill, we have to give them a total
And
reduction.
$50, Catherine Smith, is a lot. I mean, a residential
Yeah, we got-
tap opened
Okay.
to let it flush, even if, as the presenter was saying there, that it's for 15 minutes, we might be talking about 50 of water.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah.
going
So, yeah,
up
50.
About $50 per
to
quarter.
recognize,
$50.
yeah,
Yeah,
$50 per quarter?
yeah.
So every building cycle?
yeah, that can easily be done.
And what do they cost now for just because they used to be 100.
$150.
Yeah, it's under 50.
About 150.
For if you just use basic amount of water.
For just the water, it's 93.
99, yeah.
I know, but
93.
you gotta have
But
sewer.
I mean, if you
yeah,
go
water.
over, I'm
Then it
saying,
jumps.
Yeah.
yeah. I was just wondering what the basic was.
So, okay, so we're doing a $50 off their water bill every quarter. Yeah, everybody all in favor of that?
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, that is
Can I
that
have a
going to
seconder
create a lot of
or first?
administrative
That's
work?
your motion.
I need a seconder on that.
Awesome.
And then what about your taxes?
You know, we give everybody a reduced rate. I have an issue,
What is their taxes? much
and
is
we
the
give
tax?
everybody a tax this year, everybody. And we have the Heart Hotel now that doesn't serve alcohol, they don't have a liquor license. So the only liquor place we have now in Poos that you sit down and can have a beer is the Legion, which they are a business. Like,
They're actually nonprofit. They are, they're under command. They're under the Northwest Territory, or the Yukon
Well,
Territory.
any money that they make goes back to, I know, because I just.
I'm giving them, because they are a Legion and they are war vets and I'm fine with that.
how many veterans go there?
They pay the one veteran's medical bills.
One veteran in our community?
That's about all we got.
That's all we got left.
That's it.
There's other veterans, but why don't they go there?
Because they're a bowling alley. So that's where all the Legion people go to?
I can't agree with that.
How much do they have to pay in taxes?
I'm looking that up here
Okay.
right now, I'm just having some trouble.
Thank you.
They're not under Legion.
But like-
Royal Canadian
Royal,
Legion.
that's it.
Like you said, none of the surrounding communities charge the Legion.
That's not entirely true.
They pay 87% in Fort St. John. He's got the list.
And so Tumbler Ridge, I was the CFO over there, it's a two-part system. So the Legion for years in Tumbler Ridge had been asking for tax exemption and they didn't qualify under those rules we talked about. So what the Legion did there was they built a separate room inside the building that was for members only, and then they had an area that was for members and the public. When the council sent the permissive tax exemption to BC Assessment came along and then went in, inspected the building and said, okay, members only area, that floor space is exempted, the rest of the building is not. So, and that's something to consider in all of this too, folks. You guys can pass a motion right now to exempt the entire thing. When I send that paperwork to BC Assessment, they're gonna come over here and look at it. And the first thing BC Assessment assessor is gonna do is look at the Legion and ask the president, say, okay, where's the members only area?
I think that's changed now, the Legion is open up to the public.
Public.
So that's what I'm saying.
Used to be
Council
you
Dover.
couldn't go into the lounge
Yeah.
unless you were a guest or a member.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
second they
it's
say
like-
it's all open to the public, application for exemption declined.
No.
Can you, check for St. John, Tumber Ridge, Chevron, all of them that have legions and see how much they pay for property taxes? And then bring that back?
Why don't we do a little horse trading here? And, instead of, the $50 a month and creating some administrative work that has to be done every quarter, why don't we just, knock off the property tax for the catering and just have it for the liquor license?
How much is the living?
$150.
The business license.
They pay $150 for each part.
Yeah.
The
Because
hall
half the
and-
things, that's a good idea, because half the thing they do for their catering is community, like their schnitzel night and their steak nights, Remembrance Day, etc.
So the hall will be exempt, Chris,
The hall would be exempt from,
for taxes, and then they still,
hope we can't, like I said, the council can pass a motion to add that to the permissive tax exemption bylaw that's later in the agenda here tonight, but, yeah, it's gotta get approved by BC Assessment.
So even if we give them
And that check and balance is there so that councils can't come along and say, oh, we like this business, we like that owner, we're just gonna pass a bylaw and exempt it.
Yeah.
BC Assessment comes back and double checks, says, well, no, they don't qualify on the criteria application.
It's just for the business license.
Oh, just the business license, yeah, okay, different thing.
How
So-
much do they pay in taxes?
For some reason, I can't find,
It must
It's
not
not
be.
under Royal,
It's not
okay,
under-
try, just type in Legion,
I did Legion. Royal Canadian
RCL,
Legion.
try RCL. I know it's in weird, it's
It's-
under weird.
RCL is usually a lot of it.
No, it's not RCL.
It's just how they've put it into our system.
R.C.
No,
I know we get some people that have those forms.
Does anybody know the ad-
Canadian
Does
Legion,
anybody know the address for it off the top of your head?
47th Avenue,
Who's Scooby
5011, I think.
Who's Goopy? Well, Google that, Google Maps.
Yeah, I can find it by address easier than by name.
It's 47th, 5011, I think it is.
It's definitely 47th.
5009 47th Avenue.
No, it's close. That's about 2 off.
Here it is. That's why we couldn't
Got
find it. It's listed as Pooskoopy BR hashtag 34 CBN Legion. I would never find it.
So how much is theirs?
Yeah. Taxes. Water, sewer.
inquiry.
Okay, so, current year
Why is it
assessment,
ticking there, Chris? My good time's coming.
$376.
They pay $376.
$376
For both?
for 2020.
It's taxed just on the building or property, right? It's not. has
How much
nothing to
will
do
their
with business license.
2021 taxes be?
We don't know that yet.
So the whole total
No,
is
sorry
376.
folks, I stand corrected. That was no, there's still an outstanding amount of,
No.
so it's 1187 for this year, it was 1440 for last year. So the drop was because of the 25%.
1,500.
Yeah, 1500 on average. Which really, when we break it down, is $105 a month.
The thing is, if the assessment is not gonna let us,
They may not,
Yeah.
so I don't
so
know.
how can we help them?
Can you find out from BC Assessments?
Not in time to meet the bylaw deadline.
Bylaws on tonight.
Yeah, according to the community charter, council has to have done fourth and final reading of the tax exemptions by October 31st, so we've only got this meeting and the 21st to do it. Then we've got to do public notice on top of it all too.
So we can't,
And they, you know, to their,
that's a lot of money for them when they're struggling.
Yes.
That is.
Yes.
So I know what the utility bills are for that place.
I bet they're high. Yeah.
Yeah.
so if we use last year's tax number, or this year's, I guess. we're
I'll
gonna
check my
use-
bank account, maybe I'll make a donation.
So the taxes work out to $3.25 a day.
A day.
A day.
Because
And
the,
taxes aren't the only thing that we pay.
because the line hasn't been that busy either.
Well, no, it's COVID, that's what he's saying.
They're just keeping their heads above water.
And don't forget, you folks council has already made multiple donations to the Legion here, this year and last year as well. So
And-
really, they're paying the taxes. I mean, just last year alone, we donated about $550 for you know, instead of a Legion.
So I was donating $1,500, not even worry about the taxes, and then we just donate them $1,500 every year.
It'd be
And that goes towards their taxes.
And
And so
what
they
it's
basically it's zero.
for transparency and discussion, you know, their Remembrance Day service is
Huge.
phenomenal
Yes.
and packed. Maybe as a village, $1,500 is what we donate to the Remembrance Day ceremony, because they provide coffee, tea, chili, whatever, and
Well, we should actually, that should be 2,000 then. For the Remember Day,
I'm-
because they have to buy the food.
I'm just saying, but $2,000 donation to the Legion, are we gonna make it that grand of, I'm paying devil's advocate to Goosegoopy Community Church or, you know, somebody else?
They don't pay taxes.
You know, pay-
No,
Churches
they're-
don't pay taxes.
Yeah, they're exempt, they're on
They're
the
exempt. So, I'm
If
not,
somebody else comes for a tax exemption,
We're not saying it's a tax exemption, we're just saying it's a
We're
donation.
donating.
I know, but can we,
and
how do we do it so we're not favoriting making it, because it's the Legion?
I believe your suggestions actually sound in that respect, Councillor Smith, because if council says, well, we're donating X amount of dollars, whatever you guys choose that to be, to this registered not-for-profit, nationally registered not-for-profit for this specific event,
he just told you guys that he is a registered
Yeah.
non-profit through the Yukon.
So,
So, he is profit,
no,
or no? No.
but we can say it's a donation towards the November 11th.
And that's always close to tax time.
Yeah.
I mean, a donation to the Legion in general would probably be fine too, as long as, you know, that does make it a little bit easier than a tax.
But we give them the
exemption for sure.
$500 for the book. So,
In lieu of the book.
Yeah.
blue of the book, but so, what are we giving them a year, $2,000? Did we give them $500 this year? I can't remember.
Yeah, and a little bit more.
Okay, so let's give them $1,500 for a donation.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I put the motion on the floor.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
What about, is there any assistance because of their, I would imagine their heritage site? Is there any other assistance that as a community we can give them?
I don't know if they're classified as a heritage,
Yeah.
because the building's been revamped so many times.
I like the idea.
I've tried different ways when I was there.
I like your motion as well, so.
All in favor? Okay. Unfinished business arising from the minutes. New business 8.1 recommendation.
The council received this report on the cemetery markers for discussion.
Second. Councilor, please.
Second.
I found it really hard to read. Well, yeah, I know.
It's just to give you an idea what it looks like. Sorry, they're like these little, sorry, I can't speak. So you have this plaque and we would have a saying on it, and then we'd have all these names listed, and they're like these little plaques that they put on with little screws. And then you can add to it as the years go on.
I like it.
And also the upkeep on it, it'd be easier, like, you're gonna put that on the board, the bulletin board
Where
there.
it's covered there, but this is cast iron, there's not much upkeep. You spray it with the hose and that'll be,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's where you're gonna put it. So if somebody was looking for somebody and they couldn't find the marker, they could go there and.
Running, put your hand up, go ahead.
I know I'm a little odd maybe, but I know that when I go up to the cemetery and I visit with my relative, that I like to visit with the other relatives, and I like to know where they are, other people's relatives. No, just, it's just to remember, and it's just respectful. And if you're looking at a plaque, it's like, it's not the same as being there and
But you saw the
seeing the
choices.
name.
You saw the choices.
Remembering.
You saw the
Yeah,
choices.
I'm just saying that, I mean, the plaque is a really nice idea, but that's just the way that I like to do things, and I don't know about other people, but yeah, I said my piece.
I do like the idea of that you can add to it, because I imagine in the future there's gonna be other families that can't mark their family's grave. We'd have a place to do it. And I wanna thank the staff for finding Susie's thing.
We've all gone to verify that she's there.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, see?
Well, that's good that you stopped at it.
Well, we tried.
So, what are we gonna do here? What? You guys make a decision?
I like the idea that and you can add to it. Because the little plaques that we're thinking, because we can't afford big ones, through time, the grass grows through them, we lose. You know what I mean? There's other plaques there that sink. That's my concern.
That's the burden of having a cemetery.
Pardon me?
That's the burden of having a cemetery. Things sink. They wobble to and fro. I want to be respectful and I want to remember these people. Like, I mean, I'm looking at this list and going, yeah.
Yeah, no, even I went, oh, I know that person, I know that person, I know that person.
Yeah. And you just want to know where they are. And for whatever reason, they don't have
If they don't have the
something.
money.
Can I ask a question? John and Jean Caldwell, they do have a marker, right?
There's nothing left.
If it doesn't say anything, there's a
D.
marker there.
It says D,
Yeah, so there's,
D29.
she doesn't say. I'm not 100%, I don't know, somebody else is working on this, but I can ask, I can inquire.
I'm pretty sure there's one.
Don't you wanna table this one, Amy, until you decide what you wanna do, or?
I want to know how you all feel about that cemetery.
Well, I would put that plaque up there.
You put the plaque up there?
I would.
Is there any way we could do the plaque and put a number or something that you can walk around and
Like
You can find that
maps,
spot.
find that?
Like a map?
We can put whatever information you want on there, so we could put, council would have to decide what they want on those markers. You want their, because there's only limited space, right? So it'd be their name and probably the years, but then we could also have the plot, the A5 or D5.
But then we have to have a map somewhere.
The map is right beside it.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good, Mark. Then that way you would know where to go to look. Take my glasses down so I can see it.
Okay.
Ken, what do you have to say?
Because I'm gonna be up there when we take.
Why is it council's responsibility to provide markers? Isn't that a family responsibility?
It is.
It is, but there's some of these people that have no family,
Okay.
So I can't afford it.
or can't afford it.
Well, you know, you can afford
It's called respect.
a piece of wood and engrave some names and numbers on it to the, you know, I don't see money as being the issue.
What's the bylaw state for headstones in the park, or in the cemetery?
So, your worship.
Can somebody just build a cross and put it in there? Or does it have to be a?
The regulations. There's,
It's
yeah,
regulations.
there's
That's what I
guidelines.
thought.
Yeah.
Oh,
And even some sections, you can't have the little fences or.
It's for maintenance
It's for-
purposes.
yes. And that's standard across most cemeteries, and yeah, as Sandy mentioned, it's usually for maintenance. The headstones are supposed to be big enough that if they do get bumped into by a lawnmower, it doesn't knock it over and that type of stuff. Or they're flush with the ground and it's some type of stone there. But yeah, you know, generally speaking, that's the individual's family that does it.
You know, it would be nice if there was a society that looked after the cemetery.
Well, that's Councilor Smith, she's the liaison for that.
And who am I liaison with?
You and Marlene were doing it.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm asking?
there is no society.
There's no society per se. We do have a cemetery care maintenance fund, but it's for maintenance of the cemetery in general, per se, yeah. But, you know, council controls those funds, right? So if you guys feel this is an acceptable maintenance activity or something you'd like to do, absolutely.
Barb?
Is there any grants out there for cemeteries? Because at this stage, probably every community is struggling with this. Like, is there any grants?
How did Rolla do it?
Yeah.
There are grants. We received a grant according to the deputy finance clerk for some cemetery work a few years ago. But yeah, we'd have to dig a little bit.
Send it out to the grant writer.
Yeah, send it out to the grant writer. But as with all those grant projects, right, there has to be an approved motion of council to move forward with something before we can apply for the grant.
No, I'd like to see society, the people from the community involved in it, them doing their fundraising activities, and if needed, you know, supported by council to do that.
We can even get volunteers.
I'm sorry?
We can even get volunteers. Marlene?
When I'm finished working on council and finished with council, I'll do that.
Should we reach out in our newsletter? Ask them if anybody's interested in that.
We can get a society for frickin' dirt bikes.
But it's probably people maybe out in area D, Briar Ridge area that have been here a long time, that maybe.
I'd like to be involved in that too.
I'm just throwing it out.
Okay, so we have a list of these names. Can they be added on that list that the PRD has up there?
The map, the cemetery map that's on the bulletin board.
That's what
That's
the
our map.
admin is working on right now.
Yeah.
No, it's PRD's map.
Oh, okay.
They're the ones that printed it for us.
Oh, okay.
We provide the
We provide the
information,
info.
they are the ones that print it for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't have a machine. And that's what admin is working on right now, is trying to figure out who's where and who's not where, and she's doing a very good job.
She's doing a
finding.
phenomenal job of it, yeah.
She eats eats and breathes and,
Yep.
Awesome.
and dreams cemetery right now.
Ideas, yeah.
Yeah, we also talked today in the staff meeting, she's gonna be putting together a list of cemetery plot sale procedures moving forward, because we after about 10 minutes of discussion of it, it kind of came to light that we didn't have one, and we think that's where a lot of the issues might be in the record keeping, was that nobody really had a checklist that, okay, when you go to sell a cemetery plot, here's the steps you follow, so.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Carl.
Cemetery plot. My family has bought a bunch of plots. My father, they're all in his name. He's passed. My time has come. I have a plot there. So my family comes in and says, Mom has a plot. How do you track that I have a plot? And who?
It's on the reservation.
Oh, so it's always moving. You
There's a
know?
book of reservations.
What I'm saying is, through time, 20, 30 years, because I'm gonna, I got 40 years left.
They found yours. They've seen that one.
Yeah, so what I'm saying, 40 years from now, if I've killed my kids and they're not here to say that is where she's gonna be buried, and they say, well, she didn't buy that plot, Walter Smith bought that plot.
Doesn't matter, that's still your plot, it's mountain plot.
Yeah,
Paid
and
for.
it's okay for individual A to purchase a plot and assign it to individual.
But it has to be in the paperwork.
Has
It
to be in the
can't just-
paperwork, yeah.
So it's worth looking into. You can come into the office and ask the girls to see that reservation. Those papers never move. We have a book and they've been in there for, 40 years. And some of them go back to 1930. And there's reservations there. And on the reservation, it will list who they purchased the plots for.
And what if, okay, for instance, I say, I want to do a cremains over top of my mom and dad, of a different, my daughter gets killed tomorrow, or, God forbid. And I want to do a thing,
The
bury
ashes.
her ashes in her thing. Now, I didn't buy those plots.
Doesn't
It's-
matter, you can open it up. If they
You
can
can
be
put up
done
to 4
You
people
put
are
up to
dead.
4.
They can put up to 4 people in a plot.
I know, but do I have the authority to do that?
If
It's
your
not
name's
my
on-
plot.
If
It's
your
not
name's
on my-
then you don't.
And you're not gonna get my mom and dad's name because they're in the grave. So, is that done?
Who's the executor? The executor would be.
I believe there are forms to fill out in cases like this.
I'm
But
just asking these
the ladies
questions.
at the front
Can we
will know
discuss
better.
that?
Okay,
Sorry,
sorry.
we're in the council meeting right now.
Well, I'm thinking about the bylaws, that's why I was asking.
You're probably right, Councillor Drover, that we shouldn't be putting markers on other people's graves, because it does.
We might take them.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't do it for all, then
That's a good question.
yes, and I agree with you. And I think that if we want to have markers, that we should have some kind of a society form and work at this, because nothing's for free. Okay?
So we're gonna put this on hold?
We're tabling this.
Yep.
Okay.
Make a
All in
motion to
favor?
table.
Till when? For indefinitely or?
So whenever we decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
8.3 recommendation, no, where am I? 8.2 recommendation.
That the council received a letter from the PRD requesting the fire department budget by November 15, 2020 as information.
Thank you, seconder.
Oh, second.
Any discussion? You have discussion?
Chris?
Yeah, just, so this is similar to last year, the PRD wants the fire department budget ahead of time so that they can move to include it in their budget and so on and so forth. Just to give council the numbers verbally, the fire department last year was about 253,000. It's in the budget this year, including so in our 5-year financial plan right 2020 was 253. This year it's scheduled to be about 260 when I run the numbers. And that's just with a couple of % increase on the various categories that I
And how much did PRD give us?
PRD gives us around 80, I believe. So there's some cost offset there. But what I'm looking for from council is that the fire chief and I have to sit down and do the budget. And I don't want to present something that's gonna just, be out in left field. So is there any inclination from council now to amend that budget, or is it business as usual? What am I looking to do with it in general?
Ryan?
We're in unprecedented times. We don't know where we're going to end up because nothing is firm in the future. We bring in,
I know my property insurance is a firm. You don't even have to pay property insurance.
yes, I realize that those things are firm, our costs. But whether we have employed people or whatever, how many properties do we have? About 350.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if all those people are gonna be able to pay their taxes. And yet
Did
they're
we pay the
taxes.
taxes?
Yeah, this year
We were lucky.
yeah, I wouldn't say we were lucky, your worship, but it was pretty much a standard year. We didn't have many more,
We didn't have lots.
delinquencies than we had in previous years, right? So, we talked about leading into taxes, this big jump in unpaid taxes this year, and our delinquent roll or arrears roll was just gonna skyrocket. It didn't happen.
The only one that didn't get done was the one that we already know about.
I mean, it was only middle of March that the doors shut. And business has changed. So I'm just thinking, like, we bring in, what, 300 and some $1,000 in taxes from taxpayers. And we're paying 260 to fire hall. Oh, less the 80. Just something to think about, people.
Barb?
The total budget you said is about 250?
Last year was,
Okay.
yeah, about 250.
How much of that does the regional district assist us with? 40%?
34 point something percent.
So roughly, we're paying 185 out of the Poos coffers for the fire department, out of our 350 that we get from our taxpayers. I'm ballpark.
How much do you think we'd pay if we didn't have a fire hall for insurance?
Yeah, so last year's number, Councillor Smith, would be about 167 after the PRD.
We would pay insurance, but I'm saying, do we have the money to spend on all the bells and whistles that we have in our fire department? I'm
What are the bells and whistles, Chris, that's added on the budget?
So some of the line items, I mean, obviously there's wages and the benefits and fuel, computer costs, water that they use, the
wages, benefits,
the
for,
the fire chief.
okay.
And actually, my wages in there too. We allocate a percentage of my wage for administration and stuff over to the fire department. The computer costs. So really, some of that stuff, and so, prior to my arrival in 2016, we weren't allocating computer costs over to the fire department. So what that meant was on paper or through the budget and audit process, all the computer costs were town halls. But they weren't. We know, the simple fact that I open up this budget program and do the fire department budget means that I'm using this computer's time for the fire department. So we gave it a 20% allocation. So that's about 19,000 here for this year coming up. The training line is a huge one. 35,000 there. Just the natural gas to heat the fire hall is $4,500.
But they have to have the training.
That's
a requirement for them.
Yeah.
Do we know how much gas that fire truck uses per month?
Like actual fuel? Depends on the number of calls that goes out. But just the fire trucks.
She's talking about Blair's command truck.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, the command truck?
Yeah.
We do a fuel log, but I don't know that number.
So is it split between the fire department and the village?
Last year.
The fuel?
Yeah, last year it was.
And him personally, yes.
Yeah. No, there's no personal allocation on it.
Yeah, there is, he has a cost report on there.
But not on the fuel log version.
And does he use that truck for first responders too?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that truck actually goes out, and I would guess 95% plus of the first responders calls.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking.
Yeah. And then one of the other big items is the
Well, he was the first one on scene at the fire park there, at the park.
yeah.
They didn't have to dispatch the fire truck because he had the stuff in his truck.
Yeah, having that vehicle, is makes it quite responsive to to calls. But one of the biggest lines on the fire department budget is the minor capital, and that's the line where we put new helmets, boots, bunker gear, hoses, nozzles.
Yeah, because there's regulations out there now that they can only use it for so long.
So, and that's part of the issue this year now too. The Blair and I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. The Fire Standards Act, I think it's called, is changing so that each fire department member is now required to have 2 sets of complete bunker gear.
What?
Oh my God.
Because they're finding that
That's expensive.
it's hugely expensive.
It is,
It's
like these old buildings around here,
Yeah.
some of these houses have asbestos in them.
and
I
it's
wouldn't expect the fire chief or the firemen to wear the same uniform again after
2
they've
days
had
in
a
a row.
fire
No.
with asbestos in it.
Yeah,
I
and
just wouldn't.
that's exactly why, Your Worship, to permit them to have, to send off, and also the cleaning requirements now, so they're required to send those off to get professionally cleaned before they can be used again.
Didn't we have the wash machine or whatever it is in
They
there?
can't do,
No.
they can't do asbestos ones.
No, so, and I forget do you remember where we sent them last time for that big
TCM.
cleaning?
No,
Was it Kelowna?
he has to send that
It
down.
was like Kelowna or something, we had to nail all this hugely heavy fire, cost us a
Yeah.
fortune. But that's part of the fire game, right? If you're in that service space, that's the cost of doing business,
Supposed to keep everybody safe.
yeah.
And
So,
that's the fire hall, right? But the first responders end of it,
We're working on a contract with PRD.
so and we did.
so if the regional district is going to take on
The first responders, they'll pay. Just like they help build the building, just like they help with fire trucks, just like they help with anything that we do over there.
Well, they pay for one of the fire trucks. The PRD pays for the tanker.
Yeah, and we're getting it.
yeah, but I mean, the tanker goes out for the regional district.
And here too.
And here too. Yeah, we have use of it. Yes, I understand that part. It's, the first responders that I just don't, what I'm saying is that when you come along at some point and we're not going to have the money coming in that we're expecting to be able to move forward. And I'm wondering if at some point we could think about village.
Chris?
Yeah, thanks for, so I don't know if tonight's the night to go, because I will bring it back to you guys on a line by line, type of basis. Generally, when finance or administration kind of has this sort of general discussion with council about a particular department, the direction can be things like, yeah, we're comfortable if it, if you can get it to be the same number as last year, or we're okay with a 2% increase, or nope, we want to see a 5 or a 10% decrease in the overall budget. So I think that's kind of what I was looking for right now, and with, rather than trying to discuss, spur of the moment, all these various line items. So, but I know, and I'm asking this, and normally I wouldn't do this too, I just come to you guys with the first draft of the budget, and here it is, but I know there's been so much discussion about the fire department. I didn't want to be shooting in the dark to put this budget together and give you guys something for the first draft that was like, no, that's not at all what we wanted, so.
Just thoughts out there.
Yeah, so if you guys are okay with the same number as last year, or that 2% increase, still gonna be opportunities to whittle it down and examine each individual line. But if there's a sense of desire today amongst council members to, yeah, Chris, we need to see this thing down 5% over what it was last year, tell me that now, and then I've got a couple of weeks to work with the chief to bring in something that fits that model.
What do you think, Ken? You're awfully quiet over there. Kind of worried if your house burns down?
I understand exactly what Councillor Liebert is talking about, but I also,
You also know the other side of the story.
well, I'm also aware of potential for Bruce Groupie to play a pivotal role in response to the regional district right up to the border. And I think it would be a bad thing to give an increase at this point, but I also don't want to give any reduction. We know changes are coming, and when changes come, we're going to have to react to them, and that's only being prudent and realistic. But until that happens, I don't think I have, personally at this point, I don't think I have a problem with the money that was allocated for last year continuing for this year. And that's just my thoughts at the moment.
Barb?
I would possibly maybe like it cut back 5%, because we can't always be dipping into our our reserve. You know what I mean? We've got to exist without dipping. Because pretty soon,
Chris, can you tell me, I just want one question. Can you tell me why the property taxes over in Peterson subdivision are so ridiculous? Can you tell me why? Does it come over budget, the property over there?
We did this kind of roll.
It came over by 1.8. And I'm sick and tired of you sitting here and saying constantly that we can't dip in, we can't dip in, we can't dip in. But when your house is on fire, you're gonna be the first one that calls that 911 number, and they're gonna be there. They're gonna be there like a heartbeat. We are not gonna, I don't wanna decrease it. Every time we have a council meeting, it's decrease, 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 hold the line, decrease, 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 hold the line. We still have to continue to do business. We have to. Those guys lying, those guys put their lives on the line for our houses, our people out in the areas. We cannot just decrease stuff.
am I not being financially responsible to question things?
Financially responsible by decreasing the fire department?
I said, look at the budget and see if we can reduce it by 5%. We are in discussion. It's not, we are discussing here, Lorraine.
Constantly, Barb, everything is a discussion, but constantly you are always pulling back the strings. You not think, him sitting here, me sitting here, we also have financial backing. We also know how much things cost. You don't think we do homework? You're constantly.
Yes, I am, and I will continue to do that.
You as mayor, how much money did it cost you? What did we lose when you were a mayor? What things did we lose? We would have a tax base right now if you wouldn't have said no to nodes. $1.8 million over there for that frickin' subdivision went over budget because you had an open checkbook. Now, you want to talk about spending money and saving
That
money?
was completed, Lorraine, we're back after my role as mayor. It was completed.
You started it. So, now, I'm into saving money as best as everybody else, but when it comes to those guys' life on the line, I am not decreasing it,
Not decreasing.
decreasing it.
But then why bring it up to us and ask us what we think?
I honestly, God, thought that you guys would actually keep it at the line, not want to decrease it. I honestly thought that you would not have their lives on the line like this. That is important. The fire hall is very, very important. Marlene,
I value the fire department. Always have, always will. I'm sure that Councillor Smith does as well, being a member of the community, and I'm sure you do too. The only reason that I brought this up was that it's here, number one, in the agenda, and only to say that I am representing the public, and it would be nice to say, we are thinking of you during this time. That's all.
anyway. So, it stays the same? All in favor?
I'm gonna sustain my vote.
Eight point three recommendation that council
Receive the Provincial Agricultural Land Commission application submission from the Green Shadow for discussion.
Can I get a seconder?
Oh, second, sorry.
No problem.
Any discussion?
Now, is this the,
The campground.
pardon me,
The campground that they
with
want to do?
Mr. Pringle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine?
I don't even know where this is.
No,
Where
where
is
Bidoff's
that?
place was.
Our
No,
Bidoff's
Bidoff's
place.
place is. Across the river, across the bridge. Right there on the right hand side.
I can bring it up.
Right? That-
No, you go to Briar Ridge. Just down below Caldwell's.
Art been also.
Oh, the low Caldwell.
Yeah.
You know the bridge
Yeah,
on the right hand side?
yeah.
That property right in there?
Okay.
For Bidoff's used to have.
We're welcome to take a tour anytime. It's actually Doreen's little venture.
Yeah. Mine was just along the road.
Yeah. He's holding on to her shirt string.
Is it still the same, we don't have to vote on it, we just can use it for information? Because if we vote on it, then,
You guys have already,
yeah, passed it, yeah.
Point order, did we not ask for a vote for a letter of support?
We did it through email, that's why they're on the.
Yes, but don't we ratify the vote?
The vote was that there was. four
Yeah, but
in
don't
favor.
we at that council meeting ratify the vote to send the letter? Or the
We already
letter
went
was?
out.
We already sent the letter.
I agree, Lorraine, but policy is
Yeah,
that
but
when
also
you
was the
vote.
policy too, that if we didn't do anything with it, then that meant we were for it.
Sandy,
yes?
do you want to speak? No? What do you want us to do?
In the past.
This is just for information. You guys did this via email because the letter had to be to them before the September 29th deadline. And that's why we did the email vote and the
I
letter.
so agree. I don't have an issue with the letter or whatever. But when you asked us to vote for a letter of support, do we not bring that to the next council meeting and ratify that
Yeah.
vote? We do,
Show the,
for transparency.
So what you're saying is it should have been on the
The
agenda.
agenda.
And, yeah,
But the things are here as an attachment, every email.
The letter's not there though.
But we did do a vote, whether by email or by at
Yeah.
the council.
Yes,
meeting.
and those emails are attached in.
Correct.
So next time, Sandy,
Sorry?
we're supposed to ratify the rule.
Okay.
So next time, please do that.
Yeah.
8.4 recommendation?
the council will receive this report for consideration and discussion and adopt a resolution imposing a remedial action requirement if the council considers it appropriate.
So this is the same thing, right? We've already discussed this.
Chris?
Seconder first?
Chris?
Seconder
Chris?
first?
yeah, secondary.
Donna said second.
No, Donna read it.
I read it.
Who's seconding? Ken?
Thank you.
Yeah, so just to explain, your worship, we, following the last time this came up, we sent the council's direction to the lawyers and they came back and said, well, you didn't quite do the process 100% correctly. So the portion you see highlighted here is what they've directed us to ensure you read out in full. The corporate officer has to actually certify and attest after the fact that every word of this has been read out as written.
So who reads it?
It
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay. In a public meeting,
Yeah.
as in right now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
If
The yellow. Whereas the council of the village of Pouce Coupe has authority under Division 12, Part 3 of the community charter to impose remedial action requirements in relation to nuances. Whereas the council of the village of Pouce Coupe's agenda package for this meeting contains documents regarding the site of the former Peace Haven Hospital at 5213 Hospital Road, Pouce Coupe, BC, including the report of the corporate officer dated July 15, 2020. And whereas the council of the village of Pouce Coupe has considered the material in the agenda packages and the other material and submissions presented to council at this meeting, which includes concerns that the fire-damaged hospital building and surrounding debris has walls and other structural elements of the fire-damaged building that have collapsed or are vulnerable to collapse, is unsightly and in ruins, emits odors and ash carried by the wind, contains broken glass and protruding metal, wood, and concrete fragments, contains chemicals and hazardous materials that are leaching into the soil, has not been cleaned up since the fire in May 2019, and is secured only by temporary fencing and is otherwise abandoned. Now therefore, the council of the village of Pouce Coupe, in open meeting assembled, adopts the following resolution. 1. That pursuant to sections 72 and 73 of the community charter, council finds the fire-damaged building and surrounding debris, collectively the fire-damaged building, located on the property legally described as PID 013-863-932, Parcel A, D 2237, Block B, Section 32, Township 77, Range 14, west of the 6th Meridian, Peace River, District Plan 3159. The property to create and to be in an unsafe condition. That pursuant to Section 72 and 74 of the Community Charter, Council declares the fire-damaged building to create a nuisance, including because Council considers the fire-damaged building to be so dilapidated and unclean as to be an offensive to the community. 3, that Council orders the registered owner of the property, the Northwind Wellness Center Society, the owner, to do all of the following. A, conduct hazardous materials testing to determine how to safely remove the fire damaged building by demolishing structural elements and clearing debris. B, apply for and obtain a demolition permit from the village of Pouce Coupe, the village. C, remove the fire damaged building by demolishing all structures and clearing the property of all debris. D, dispose of all removed materials at an appropriate disposal facilities. And E, remediate the site by filling in any holes and placing seed or sod over the excavated area. Collectively, the required works. 4, the council requires the required works set out in subparagraphs 3A and B of this resolution to be completed within 60 days of the owner being sent or served with notice of this remedial action under section 77-1 of the community charter. 5, that council requires the required work set out in subparagraphs 3, section C to E of this resolution to be completed within 120 days of the owners being sent or served with notice of this remedial action requirements under section 77-1 of the community charter.
What's the water can?
6, that council directs the village staff to give notice of this remedial action requirement in accordance with section 77, subsection 1 of the community charter. 7, that pursuant to section 17 of the community charter, if the owner fails to complete any part of the required works in the time required by council, the council authorizes the village of Pouce Coupe by its staff and contractors to enter onto the property and perform all of the required works at the expense of the owner, and for this purpose the village staff may A, retain a contractor or contractors in accordance with the village's purchasing policy to perform the remedial work, and B, recover all costs incurred by the village as a debt payable by the owner, which debt, if unpaid by December 31st of the year in which it is incurred, may be recovered as taxes in arrears under section 258, subsection 1, subsection C of the community charter.
Discussion.
Can I get a seconder first, please?
Thank you. I'll second it. Discussion. That's a lot, Chris. What do you recommend?
That's it, I can't alter that in any way, Your Worship. That comes directly from our legal consultant. So, yeah, you're on the right track at any discussion and then vote on the matter. So.
Okay. Art?
So after 120 days, after they get the notice of this, it has to be cleaned up, otherwise we go in and clean it up? That's what it's saying.
So is there any movement with regards to this property? I understood there was some plans for the property. Has that not come to
Not here.
fruition?
That's out there. They have plans for out in Farmington. Chris?
No, sorry. Just
They have,
Wasn't this going to be sold?
they're trying to sell it. They said they had 3 people.
But there was a date by when this was supposed to have been
It
sold.
was September 1st.
And so it was just smoke, more smoke.
Well, I mean, if anybody had gone in to check on how much it was worth.
About $350,000 to clean that up.
And so our offer to take over has been ignored.
Yeah.
Have they sent this, has this been sent to them?
We haven't heard nothing back from Northland.
No, so
So
there was,
everything's gone on deaf ears.
yeah, there was the original offer, and then there was the second to investigate this sale that they posted. And we administration received advice to not pursue that.
Well, we got nothing left to do but do what we gotta do.
And it has to be cleaned up.
I make a motion that we proceed with the lettering or the wording as given to us by our legal.
Yeah, that motion's already on the floor.
Okay.
All in favor?
Opposed, and so no, please.
Opposed. Um, 8.5 recommendation?
The council approved the letter to PRD regarding civic addresses.
Second.
Looks like a good idea.
Discussion, yes, that's a must. Ken?
So is the concept that every house is gonna have this? Like little piece of metal that we're gonna ding off in the winter?
Design is yet to be determined. It's just an idea.
Proposal.
We just need numbers. People have numbers on their house for emergency reasons, right?
Yeah.
They're having a hard time out in PRD too. Bart?
Within the boundaries of Poos, is it not a law or whatever, or bylaw that they have to have house numbers on their houses visibly?
Yes?
Yeah. Thanks, Your Worship. So, yeah, there is a bylaw that the property has to be numbered. It's not super prescriptive as to exactly how that is. So, to the report's point, yeah, we've got folks with house numbers on their houses that aren't lit, that are virtually the same color as the siding. And we've got folks with numbers on rocks, on signs, so.
We know that, don't we?
Yeah. Anybody who's ever done the Christmas light drive around is like, even when the house is lit up like the space station, it's hard to find the
That's the
number.
nature of living in Poos. We know where the Legion is, but we don't know what the number is.
Yes, but if you have to call into
Yeah.
the place that does all of the things, you can say, okay, I live out on the very road and it's the third house in and well, they don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Vancouver would say, oh, you live by the Legion. Okay.
Why don't you put your hand up?
I was driving around today in Dawson Creek and I was looking for house numbers, and I'd say that Dawson Creek is in the same position as Blissfield. GPS really helps. And knowing your streets, and I'm sure that that our fire department, our public works department knows where they're going. I don't know about the ambulance, but I'm sure that they can use GPS too. I think these signs are very ugly.
Well, these aren't the signs.
These
No,
are
no,
these are
they're
different
not
ideas.
No,
But we've had them stop at our house and ask us how to get to somebody's place.
I've had them stop at my place and ask how to get somewhere.
Well, I think that
Okay.
they should have, but have nicer ones.
There's something about purchasing a piece of property and then having your house and then making decisions about it, including a house number, putting on whichever ones you want. But I don't know, it just seems so personal to me. And then a community,
But some people maybe can't afford to buy that name thing. I don't know.
I'll paint them on a rock. Paint them on a rock and you can't see the rock.
Yeah. I know that from being on the fire department too.
I think it's a good idea.
Not necessarily these
All good.
signs, but.
What are we voting on?
Send this to the regional district, including the letter.
Letter of support.
Good. Let us
The letter of
support
support. The regional
numbers,
district.
civic numbers. Our 911 numbers.
For
Yes,
emergency
Marlene and Barb
response.
are opposed to.
I don't think they're opposed to it, are you? You're not.
I'm opposed.
Are you?
I think we'll have further issues with these sticks and the snow and,
It's not us, it's PRD. It's a support letter for PRD.
oh, regional district? To have these out in the regional district, I think it's a wonderful idea, yes. But in the boundaries of Pouce, no.
The concept of worship is to have them all in the participating communities. So,
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
But each town can come up with their own design.
I think that'd be super cool, you know, send it out to the residents and say, you know, let's design a community thing. And we'll have a drawing.
Some contest.
All in favor? And can you put that motion on the floor?
Sure. I still think we have ugly street signs.
Ugly street sign.
Yeah, we could have nice, pretty street signs. We don't,
What are you talking about?
no, street signs, numbers.
Oh,
You know, the scrolls up on the top.
Oh, they're ugly. We need pretty signs for Goose.
So you're gonna be the judge when they come in?
Sure.
I'd like it noted as opposed.
Opposed?
Okay.
Okay, what, okay. Which one are you opposed?
The signs.
Signs? Or for the community thing?
Oh, not your community thing, you can do everything.
So Sandy, you know that, what to do, what Ken wants done there in that motion?
Yeah, we're sending the letter to PRD.
And then Ken wants for ours,
A competition.
contest. For the residents to decide how they would like those.
Okay. So is there a seconder for that?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Okay.
It was its recommendation, the council approves charitable advertising in the village place.
Can I have a seconder?
Second.
I'm in favor.
Discussion? Aye.
It is getting to be like a newspaper or Village Voice newsletter.
And it's not that expensive.
But I understand that some people really like it. And some people need to look at it once a month to look and see when garbage day and recycling is. I don't know what the purpose is. It just seems like it's just not working for me. And it's an awful lot of money for the person who's putting it together and colored ink, the paper, the printing, just seems like a cost.
So you don't want it, period.
And I mean, people look at it and it's cost. Unless the kids are coloring.
There's always that in there.
Yeah. I'm just thinking there's more cost-effective ways of putting this out.
Well, this is to council to approve chargeable advertising in the Village Voice. So it will pay for the Village Voice. It will pay for it.
Yeah, I said, it's
Because
kind of like a newspaper, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it has the new museum, the library stuff in it.
Yeah.
It has updates.
Yeah.
Garage, the garbage pickup, the recycling pickup.
Yeah. I know what it does, and I read it.
Also do I.
Go digital with it. So email it out there.
It is digital.
It is digital, but people that don't have computers still can.
Can we just maybe have a couple copies at the office that people can pick up if they want to, if they can't do digital?
That's a good idea.
For the post office bulletin board.
Well, Sandy sets them up on the counter anyway, and everybody takes them.
No, we
On the counter, they said.
do mail drop.
Yeah,
No,
but
we paid to mail those out once a month,
Yeah.
and she puts the extras on the counter.
have we looked at the garbage pail after to see if people are actually taking them home to reading them? Like, have we done that research to see if the,
At the post office?
You can't throw things out at the post office.
there's no garbage can anymore?
There is outside.
There is a.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, there's one
That big green
outside.
thing, that
There's a
big-
recycle
Oh, yeah,
bin.
right.
There's a
Right.
recycle bin just for that purpose.
Yeah. Great.
Well, can we just do maybe a few and leave them on the thing and then just do the rest of it digital? Does it cost that much more to do it digital? It's just staff time. isn't it?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. So, Councillor Hebert's not wrong. The newsletter is quite the labor staff intensive thing to put together between, you know, the admin assistant who, you know, designs the whole thing, puts all the pages together, it goes to the corporate officer for review, comes to me for review before it goes out. So, you know, the concept of the advertising, originally came up as a, well, COVID times are tough, let's support the business community, but unfortunately, we can't do free advertising for businesses. So when we reached out to neighboring communities who were doing it, they were, yeah, just charge a nominal fee and then you get around that. As long as you're paying a little bit, then, you know, so we came up with this fee structure to sort of mirror what was happening in the other communities, but it's not even gonna come close to covering the cost of the newsletter. If I'm not mistaken, when we do color printing in that printer, it's somewhere around 12 cents a page, isn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Pretty expensive.
it's quite expensive, and we're printing 300 of these things and then mailing them
300
out.
times 12.
And how much for the post office?
And
$65 every time we do a mail
Yeah.
drop.
so, it's reasonable to assume just using those quick and easy numbers, we're probably $1,000 in addition,
If not more.
if not more.
Your
Yeah.
postage alone is almost $700 a year.
Yeah, yeah, but that's for everything. Well, no, it's
No,
once a
that's-
month.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're easily over. No, I was saying $1,000 in addition.
Oh, in addition.
Yeah.
So can you put that on the village website to ask the residents if they don't want that anymore? Or this should be a resident's decision.
Good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Now
we're
we
trying
know
to
that.
save our residents money, and is it a value of you to continue on with the newsletter or not?
I know from a staff standpoint, we'll often put things in the newsletter that we feel are important for messages, but how much of an impact that actually has to the general.
How many times do we get on what's happening and who's, we can ask the same bird and cat question time and time again?
Yeah, and even before I quit Facebook, I can't remember anybody on that.
Who's garbage day? Who's
You know.
recycling day?
Yeah, or bringing up an issue from the newsletter and then going online and discussing it. So yeah, maybe the readership is quite low. I don't know.
So would you like a Facebook poll done? And then a survey on our website? Hey, Chris?
Before we do that, Your Worship, if we're gonna go, you know, to sort of a community consultation, I'd like to put together an estimated cost for that from us.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be long.
Help the residents make that decision. Yeah.
But before the next one goes out, that should be done then.
I've got a fire department budget to do, but I'll work.
Is there a
I can do that. I can do this.
Is there a subscribe button? for the
No.
newsletter?
No.
Subscribe means it's in your mailbox.
So keeping the newsletter and going digital with it would provide some measure of cost savings, but all the staff time in there to put it together wouldn't change. We'd just save on the printing and the mailing and that type of stuff.
But they still would be coming and asking those questions.
They still come
anyway.
in regardless.
Yeah. And a lot of that info we already have on the website, so you know, to corporate officer's point, and you know, you guys too, I mean, our garbage and recycling is right on the website. We're duplicating it in the newsletter every month. So,
And it's at the post office.
and so, right, yeah. So, okay, wasn't expecting that out of that proposal, but yeah, if you guys want us to take a look at the newsletter a little
So
closer.
we still have a motion on the table
Yeah.
to approve the charge of vote.
What was that?
You still have a motion on the table?
Yeah, to see how much it's gonna cost,
No.
how much it costs. What it is.
No, to approve the chargeable, so maybe I'd
No, we
recommend,
don't want
I'd recommend we table that until we get the results of the
table that.
community piece back.
Okay. So all in favor? Recommendation that council approves Christmas holiday closure for December 24th, 29th, and 30th, 31st, 2020.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? 8.8 recommendation?
The council received this report on in-camera costs for the labor relations as information.
Can I have a second here?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
This, for the legal costs. How much were the legal costs on North Twins?
I have no idea. I never asked for this. Ken did.
Oh, Ken asked for this.
Says Councilor Drover. On council meeting held on September 16, 2020, Councilor Drover asked for a report on costs that have been incurred regarding any kind of labor relations.
Oh.
There was a number that was brought up. I think it was close to $9,000 or $10,000.
6,500.
Was it 6,500? Okay, and I thought that was excessive for what we had directed. And I do believe, if we go back to the minutes of that meeting, that I did indeed ask for a report on the cost, but who motioned for that to be directed to legal? So it's not, all the information is not here. And yeah, it's like $6,000-7,000 of council's money, and it was questioned, and I think we have to be accountable. So absolutely, but let's take a look at the exact wording in it, because we're not given all the information.
So what are you looking for, Ken?
Who directed the calls to legal?
Me?
And we did as well.
Well, how many calls to legal were made?
3. 3, sorry?
2 at least, I think.
Well, the one from the last meeting, he didn't charge us for.
Yeah, so
He
this,
didn't charge us for everything. This is pulled from the bills.
so here it is. What expenses were incurred by whom and for what? So that was what was requested. So we know what expenses were incurred by whom and for what. Now,
Page 35.
if you guys are satisfied to continue, I'd be more than happy to drop this subject and to speak of it no more.
Yes. Great.
Okay? Good?
8.9, 2021 Celebration Canada edition, is that what that was saying? Yeah. 2020. 2020. But it's for, it cannot be used for the 2021 events. You want to talk to it?
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. Just to save council a whole bunch of reading on this. So we were approved for the Canada Day grant. Canada Day was of course canceled. The grant authority has said we can use it for another celebration type event within 2020, but we can't carry it over. So we kind of thought it'd be a no because we previously discussed hosting something else, but
I don't even think we can have a Christmas thing, right?
I don't believe so. That was kind of what we discussed about doing a parade or something downtown here.
We were gonna do the cascades and the Christmas tree. See if we could do more than.
You think warm ground on the fire truck and we could run fire truck.
Well, he'd be more than delighted to ride up and down the fire truck.
Or just like.
So if we did something like that, there'd be no cost associated with it, we could just go ahead and do it.
Or we can keep that money then.
You have to provide a report. We have to provide a report as to what the money went to.
How much money is
Santa doesn't cost anything.
Santa costs,
How much money is
he's gonna eat.
Santa's got a deck he's building. Does he get that $5,000? In other words, his deck.
Santa's now doing the donation to the Legion.
So are we saying we're sending this money back then?
Yeah,
That's what
we
we have.
can't keep.
Do we have a motion,
I'll make the
first and
motion.
second?
Second.
All
We'll
in
be
favor?
good people.
And we can reapply for next year if we.
9.1 recommendation.
The council received a quarterly report from the ombudsperson office of information. I've never even seen anything.
Oh, you should read that.
I guess. Like, what?
Yeah. We broke the rules, he said. What rules?
Who's seconding?
Second.
Thank
Right.
you.
Can you believe that?
We did it, we did. It says Mr. Leggett.
No, it just says I was representing the village.
Says the mayor was out of line.
9.2 recommendation. That council received a letter from the 4th Canadian Ranger Patrol Group as information. Can I get a second?
Oh, yes.
Discussion. Christopher, would you please phone the ranger guy, because they were out there last night and I didn't know if the search and rescue truck was being broken into, fire hall was being broken into.
Yeah, we'll do.
I called Blair, because I didn't know, there was people in the parking lot. I called Blair to make sure it wasn't the fire department, called Blair to make sure it wasn't the search and rescue. Well, who else would it have been?
It's a good thing that Blair was home last night.
And apparently you mentioned you'd come in just to investigate that too, Lee, so.
Yeah, I had company, so.
Yeah, we'll see if the Rangers can give us some notice that they'll be.
I have a phone number for him now, so.
Yeah, please do that.
All in favor? You guys see anything else?
No.
I do, I have one resolution there, Bart, did you read that?
Where?
That was the resolutions for, from UBCM over our connectivity.
Number 9.17, page 117.
Yeah. Trying to get my hands totally extended, thank you. Yeah, the resolutions, so we're,
Oh, but yes, yeah.
yes, so
Yeah.
cell phone and internet.
We need to send a paper, no.
No, it was passed.
With that?
Yeah, it was endorsed, both of them,
Nice.
so just thought I'd let you guys know that.
Good. The chart is a small friggin' fortune, sorry.
Yeah, and I think we need to talk about NCLGA and UBCM paying into them too. Like, between the regional district and us, it's just a gross amount, and all the communities pay it too, it's just a gross amount. And the regional district is also talking about backing out of UBCM and NCLGA. Because it's easier to go down and talk to the ministers than it is to speed date with them, right?
No
So,
kidding.
we need to talk about that. But that's,
So is this all being received for info?
yeah. Okay, so now we go to the resolutions, non-bylaws, 11.1 recommendation.
To the hens.
Or hand.
The county gave first reading to the hen keeping bylaw number 10/24/2020.
Second there? Discussion? All in favor? Recommendation that council,
Give second reading to the hen keeping bylaw number 10/24/2020.
second. Discussion? All in favor? That council gives
Third reading to the hen keeping bylaw number 10/24/2020.
second. Discussion? All in favor? Can I ask a question, Bart?
Yeah,
You were against this.
yeah, I am. But
And
me
then,
being opposed for the motion, I have to go, you guys have made a decision. I have to, it's not me anymore. As a whole, we decided we're gonna do the bylaws and have hens. I did say that I was opposed. But now we're doing, isn't that my role now, as we made a decision?
Yeah.
14.4 recommendation.
That council gives first reading to tax exemption bylaw number 1026/2020.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? 11.5 recommendation.
That council gives second reading to tax exemption bylaw number 1026/2020.
Second.
Discussion? 11, all in favor, that's you all right. 11.6 recommendation?
That council gives third reading to tax exemption bylaw number 1026/2020.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor.
Can I give you my report? I've gotta go. I can't do this anymore. Sorry. I'm in so much pain. If I take anything, I'm gonna
Do you want me to just wheel you out there?
It's
Are
okay.
you okay to drive home?
Yeah, I can do that. It just hurts to walk.
I can wheel you out in that chair.
Oh, that's okay. Here.
Okay. Administration
So we want
reports.
to have to.
Yeah, thanks for, CAO reports, on the table there, so, 4 items. The biggest one I guess I wanna highlight is just the scheduling of the preliminary audit for the week of November 16th. We feel we're in really good shape as in past years, and, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, and then these ones for the culvert.
Yeah, yeah, that's the email chain for the culverts there, so we'll hold those. in
So we all voted for it.
Do we have to ratify it?
Yeah, sorry, okay.
So we all voted.
Yeah.
And Barb's computer wasn't working, so we never got nothing from her.
Yeah, it was 4 in favor.
Okay.
So it's passed,
Yeah.
we need to
Passed.
ratify it because it's an expenditure. Correct?
What do you mean by ratify, Councilor Smith?
Well, you voted to grant the money to do the paving.
Yeah.
So we're spending money.
Yeah,
So don't we have to ratify that vote that that we agreed to before this council meeting
so you
on
wanna,
spending the
No,
money?
changing it. Because ratify is to change it, is it? not?
Ratify,
no, is to,
ratify the vote,
I think ratify means
to make it,
legitimize it.
yes,
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah. Well, and in theory, by including the email chain, that's in effect doing that because it's showing you guys voted on paper as opposed to hands up.
Oh.
I think.
I would check into that.
Okay.
You're free to vote again if you want. You're free to vote again.
It's just ratify the vote for the increased cost of paving.
Yeah.
And
She's
that-
talking about that, when they voted to seizure on all that money. That's what she's talking
No,
about.
the repaving the road here.
You have to
the
ratify the
culverts.
money to come out of that account, are you not?
No. I'm just, all we have to do is make a statement that we're ratifying.
So pursuant to the email chain,
Jane, we're ratifying the decision
Oh,
to
okay.
spend that extra.
I make the motion that we officially vote on this topic.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, second. Sorry.
And all in favor, because Donna's not here.
She voted in favor.
So, Chris, you wanna talk about the sidewalks here? What are you doing?
Sure. So yeah, sidewalks are, I would put them over 98% complete. All they have left to do is just pave the little strips adjacent to the road where the sidewalk butts to the road. So been out there to look at it a few times. Looks really good. Apparently there's some dog prints in a couple of it. I haven't been able to find those, but
We
two
have
members.
pictures.
Two members of staff have seen it, so we're gonna take them.
We have photos.
Yeah, photos?
Yes, we
There
have
go.
photos.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, but I understand kids are using it and nice addition to the community there, so.
And it looks pretty.
Yeah, it looks really nice, especially at the end where they sort of made a little F bend to connect it up the crosswalk there. It looks great.
Think we can have this meeting done in 10 minutes? My bedtime's calling.
Oh, quite literally.
Yes.
And how fast do you report?
I'll stop talking.
Action items, Chris, Modi, you may have said anything up? Not returning your call, what's going on?
Okay, action tracking. I'm in capital, I'm on page 24. July across the room. Oh, no, I haven't reached out to them on that yet, so.
And then there was something in your CAO report for Marlene. Did you want to discuss that?
Oh, in the weekly email one, yeah. We got a request from the post office. They're having some kind of big delivery done, and they're concerned that the back parking lot doesn't have enough gravel on it. So they want us to re-gravel the parking lot so that the truck doesn't get any mud on it, but gravel's not cheap, so, yeah, you know.
It's been an ongoing issue over there with that. It was, I don't know when that parking area was put in there. I have no idea. They were parking on the grass before.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then,
I think we went in there with the backhoe and sort of widened it, not too long ago, I don't think. But gravel, you know, for us to bring
On
in.
truck and pop is $785 for gravel, yeah.
I was gonna say $600-700 for a load. So we probably need 2-3 loads to gravel that again, so.
Well, get a truck and pop and see.
Yeah. But the question is, do you guys want us to spend that money to stop?
Well, they have parcel deliveries, they have big trucks coming in there all the time if they're gonna get stuck in the mud.
Well, it's not that they're gonna get stuck, they're gonna get mud on the tires.
Or what?
They're gonna get mud on the tires.
it's them getting out of the vehicle too. Carol explained, and I heard it from her husband as well. It's, you get out of the vehicle so that you can go into work and you have mud all over your shoes to go inside. It's not a pleasant situation, I guess.
So you want a truck and pop order? Pardon? You want Public Works to order a truck and pop? To put gravel down there?
Well, I'm just explaining it to these guys what the reasoning is. And then in the back alley is considered a back alley. There are, I don't know when the last time that was taken care of.
And usually the same thing, we don't spend a ton of money putting gravel on the alleys, they're considered a secondary access point, so.
But this is for delivery.
Yeah.
Right,
When-
and I mean, that post office is getting a lot of parcels.
So,
A lot of
If the big
parcels.
truck falls into the crater in the back alley, that's kind of important.
yeah.
That's a little
So
hard.
we're okay doing it, but just because of the cost with the gravel, so I wanted to bring that to, I mean, most of the little maintenance requests come along, so the door's ticking again, well, we just run over and do that.
Oh, yeah.
This time we're looking at $1,000 between the gravel and the staff time, so thought I'd bring it to you guys for.
We have a truck that can get the gravel.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
I think it should be done.
Put a couple of loads down.
Okay.
I think it'd be cheaper to hire a kid to spray off the tires.
I spray out the tires, yeah.
All right, no, yes, okay, yes.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor? Motion
Motion
is
by
to gravel.
Marlene,
Yeah, sure.
seconder, Barb. Okay. All in favor, yes.
Okay. Capital special projects. Whoa, Chris. So Chris, between the years that I've been married and you've working here, how many capital special projects have we done?
Roughly 20 a year, so 48, 50?
And how many have we been over budget?
One by $500.
Wow, that's pretty good. Anyone else add anything to that?
Just wondering about the culverts, why they had to be dug up.
So, yeah, I never gave you that answer by email, Councilor Huber, but when we went for the original site meeting, the site visit for the project, it was me, Director of Public Works, the engineer, and the contractor for S. Young. The sidewalk project called for the new culverts they were putting in to attach to the existing ones, and when we looked at the ends, it was only about that much, all beat up and rusted, and we looked under it, and the contractor said he could maybe...
Excuse me, Chris.
Yep.
Point of order, I'd like to make a motion that our council meeting go past that.
Seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, so what was happening was we were gonna have to notch out 4 feet into the pavement on either side of the road anyways to get the clean metal to actually attach to. So when we looked down into the culvert, one of them had already sort of partially collapsed, and we said, there's no point attaching to these things, they're done, they're finished. So because we were already having to notch out, and that part was on us, because the contract called to attach to the existing infrastructure, so we had to replace them, but they were going to be replaced anyways, so. Then we got a nice clean culvert there, and then that little bit of an additional request there was to pave over where we had to cut, and in front of our roads. Yeah.
That's all what I was
Yeah,
referring
so-
to.
Yeah.
Couldn't there be extensions put on them? Yeah, that's it.
And and that was, so there was literally only like 12 inches, and there was enough there, but it was in such poor shape that we couldn't connect to it, so.
Even after.
That's a
they did that.
heavy ditch, that water coming down that side.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilors, calendars, and if you have anything?
No, you're bailing me out this week, thank you.
Yeah, that was awesome. We're tracking an awesome meeting. Reports, Councilor White. I'm not reading it out, but I'm going to put this in the agenda. Okay. The other thing is Loran is retiring. I think we need to recognize her service in the village with a gift of something. Okay. Because she spent many years working here in the village, right? Yeah. Doing odd jobs.
And she's actually retiring now for good.
Yeah.
Isn't this number 3?
Yeah.
Would you like me to source some sort of gifts and then bring it back to council?
Yeah. All in favor of that? Who seconded?
Oh, I will. Second.
Okay, Councilor Smith?
Okay, I would like to thank council for the loan of the public works truck for the bottle drive.
Well, you never let me know what day it was.
I told you here.
Yeah, but you were supposed to tell me.
Well, anyway, we got it all, $300. A lot of liquor bottles, but hey, they all add up, $300. I would like to request additional of the truck again on October 17th, because I'm going to work with the Prince Fire Department. We're going to do a bottle drive on the Saturday, the 17th, and we're going to just ask people to put their bags of bottles out on the road, and we'll go along and pick them up. But I inquired with Blair about how many trucks they had.
You don't want them leaving them out at night. You want like an hour, 2 hours, because they'll go walk.
Okay, Blair's gonna send the notice to me before he posts it, and I'll make a mention of that to him.
They'll walk off.
Okay, would you like to tell me what's supposed to be in the notice? Because I don't know what's doing it.
Okay, I'll talk to you a few minutes
Okay.
after, because I didn't want to get long-winded about what the Poultry House was. It's just like a home, place to stay for people with medical issues at a reduced rate. Like I was,
And have babies.
well, it's a medical issue. But I didn't want to get too flowery, I just want to say what Boltree House is, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I have some concerns about an email, okay? I received the email about the regional district rezoning. And I said that I wanted to discuss it. Now, I know that they were talking about the park for a long time, probably a year ago. All of a sudden, we get an email on the 23rd, we need an answer by the 29th. So I'm thinking to myself, what has changed? How is it going to impact the village? Am I missing something here? I need to discuss it. So I reached out to a counselor, and Mr. Pringle called me. I don't know how he got my number, but anyway. So then the next
Is it not on
morning,
your card?
pardon me?
Is it not on your card?
I don't think so, but he wouldn't have my card. Anyway, so then I received a message, not sent out to all of us, just to me personally. Just talk to Leonard and want to know it,
Why you're blocking?
want you to discuss why I'm blocking
Is there?
his, how would he know what I replied back? Are
I
you
talk to
sure?
Leonard all the time.
Okay, but is
It's
that
public
leadership instead of reaching out to me, whether by text
You don't
or
know
a
what's
phone
happening.
call saying, what do you need to discuss? Because I reached out to another counselor, talked to Marlene, and I also talked to Lyle. So that is what my issue is. That, you know what I mean? Reach out to me. Don't just send me berating emails. Like, how dare you? Does Leonard have to know? And I wasn't blocking it.
It had to be done on the 27th. Leonard asked me to make sure council approved it,
Okay.
because it's in his area.
But did I, in the reply, did I say that I
We
was
wanted
blocking
to
it?
discuss tonight. It was the 29th it had to be in. The 29th, it said urgent.
Okay, so that's why I'm not being argue. Anyway, that's not, I think, what leadership is about. I think I'm part of your council, you should have tried to reach out to me and ask me. Another thing that I have an issue with is when we left the last council meeting, we went out and your family was filling in the ditch by your place.
Mhm.
So I don't have a problem with that. I don't know what the issues are, but it's not transparent to the residents seeing you and your family filling in the ditch when it hasn't been transparent in the council meeting. Like, let's try, we can do better. Like, did anybody else have an issue with seeing that and
Did
not
anybody
knowing?
else come to me when they dug up my ditch? When it was fully landscaped? Did anybody come to me and say, hey, we're digging up the ditch when it was fully landscaped? No, nobody wrote me a letter.
Lorraine, you're the mayor, I don't know what the issues were.
We
and I'm
paid
not-
for it.
and I'm not-
You paid for it, my fence was falling over.
Lorraine, that is not,
So why do I have to tell you guys what I'm doing when I went to Public Works and I went to the CAO? I never, my husband actually did.
because it's the visual to the residents. Am I out of line here?
Alfie went to Chris, told him his fence was falling over. Alfie dealt with Chris. Alfie dealt with Public Works. Alfie filled it in with his own tractor. Public Works brought dirt over there for him.
Okay, but is that the other residents knowing that, Alfie? All they do is see you're getting your ditch filled in. That's all they see. And I'm not saying right or wrong. Like, you know, I don't know what the issues was or why. But I'm
My fence
saying,
was falling over because somebody dug my ditch out.
am I not speaking what I'm trying to say is, Lorraine, I just want it to be transparent. It would have been nice if it would have been out in the council, I'm having issues with my property, or whatever, instead of you
There wasn't a
and
council meeting in between.
you and the office staff and making a decision to fill the
I didn't
ditch.
make the decision, Barb. I never made the decision. Chris and Alfie dealt on that. I had nothing to do with it.
I'm not being negative to point. Do you know, Chris, what I'm trying to say?
I see what you're saying, because it was the mayor's property, and we had that same, well, not quite that same conversation, but, you know, internally too, that, yeah, this is the mayor's property, there could be some community pushback, so.
So,
The issue,
And there was no community pushback.
No,
Everybody
I
said it
didn't-
looked really
I
good
had people
all the
ask
time.
me what was going on, and I don't
Go
know.
over and talk to the mayor. Go over. You wanna know? Go over or else.
I think she's saying that we have,
I see the odds, yeah, I see the odds. But so maybe for the benefit of the camera too, the issue was, and because it was the mayor's property, it was, you know, we intentionally did not transact, you know, through the mayor, but rather our husband. And so we had Public Works, and we had one of the lead operators from Public Works Department go over there, make sure that what we were planning on doing to fix what was a sloughing ditch was the only thing we could have done. So the issue was there was about a 2-inch wide crack in the ground along the inside of the fence. That was where the ditch was sloughing into the ditch, causing the fence to come down. So to stop that, we decided the best course of action was to fill in the ditch and prevent it from ever sloughing. So we put culvert cutting there in the ditch.
Okay, and I'm bringing it up in a meeting so we can discuss that there isn't an issue. But visually.
Well, there was an issue. Because the ditch was falling in and the fence was falling in.
Yeah,
That
it
wasn't
was, it was visibly sloughing. It was-
But what I'm trying to say,
The optics of it.
the optics of it.
Okay. You guys would be a little more upset when Alpha writes an email next week or next meeting for the back property, because he's been maintaining it for 30 years and he wants to buy it. So you guys better chew on that one. And it's not worth much, because I've already had praise. Marlene Hinder.
the museum. They used to have I spoke to Les. They used to have that historical walk, which Donna, Councillor White said that the part of that walk is those pictures, and one of them was at seniors, and it's in very bad shape.
Carolyn wrote an email today.
Oh, okay.
And thanked council. And she also posted on what's happening.
Yeah, but he said they don't do that historical walk. No, they have one Catholic one. It was done at, it was done by a previous curator, and he didn't do anything with it. So they're having a meeting soon. They haven't got the exact date down, but when they do, he'll bring up that historical walk, so.
But there's
if
one
they want to
building we don't want
continue.
them, there's one building that is on it, and there's
Yeah.
actually two buildings.
Yes, yeah, we talked about it, but I don't know if they want to revive it or not.
Can I just ask, Councilor Hubert, or is the position of the museum board, are they happy with the sidewalk work and the?
I was just going to tell you.
Yeah, okay.
Les is over the top about the sidewalk. He thinks it's absolutely marvelous. And I guess he done a really, really good job. I have to go over there and take a look. I did see paint on the side, and I did see the other paint. And he had talked about that he, next summer, may get busy and do something with it. I don't know. Yeah, so there you go.
A little bit of a long road to get to.
Are you done?
Am I done? Yeah, I'm done.
Can I use a public works truck on this meeting?
Oh,
I was
to
asked
get bottles.
to get bottles.
Yes.
Is then an assistant.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Jordan?
No report, it's been
Of course.
4:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. full days.
So mine is, I went to your meeting today and met Adam.
Oh, you did,
Yes,
that was
Adam grew
cool.
up on my road.
Did he?
Yeah, so we were kind of talking, and then
enjoyable.
I told them that you've taken my place, you take my place. They wonder why I wasn't there. But yeah, they talk just about seismicking and stuff. They're gonna have, hopefully have 4 rigs in BC and 2 in Alberta. But you already knew that. So, huh?
Maybe.